Welcome everybody to another episode of 24/7 Live. This is a very special episode today. And it's been a while, to be honest. I've been traveling a lot. I'll have to do a separate episode to catch you guys up on what's been happening over here at 24/7 Comics Land. If you haven't done so yet, please check out this QR code on my top left or right, depending on what side you're looking at, because it will lead you to a very, very special place, which is everything we're going to be talking about today. The Zero Ghosts Trade Paperback Volume 1 Kickstarter campaign that kicks off in about 1 minute. And speaking of that 1 minute, I am going to bring on a few folks to introduce first. Francis, he's going to be our campaign manager running the show today. But before that, I would love to introduce you guys to Mr. Justin Jordan himself.
Hello.
What's up, Justin?
Hey, how's it going, Carl?
Good, good. I see you more often these days. Got some secret projects cooking, but in the meantime, I'm very excited to talk about Zero Ghosts. You know, it's been a while. I mean, if anything, Zero Ghosts was the reason why 24/7 came about. So for the audiences, I'm sure a lot of people already know who you are, but for those who may be meeting you for the very first time, would you mind doing a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. I'm Justin Jordan. I co-created Zero Ghosts with Brian Ching and Will Quintana. I've also done Strange Town of Luther Strode and the Assorted Luther Strodes at Image, Spread, also at Image. I wrote Green Lantern, New Guardians, Deathstroke, Curse of Brimstone, Sideways, and several other things at DC, and I've kind of worked for everybody over the years. I've done 18 creator-owned books, I think. I know it's hard to count because there's a few that are always greenlit that haven't come out yet, so I can never remember what the number is. So I've been around for a minute and done a thing.
You know, it's funny. There's a run on Cross that you did too.
That's true.
Is it one of those books that no one talks about on the resume kind of thing?
No, but honestly, it's just there's so much stuff that I've done that I forget to put it on. The other one that always comes up is at Avatar, I did Dark Gods as well, which I always forget that I did, which is not a knock on the book. I like Dark Gods. I also like my run on Crossed. In fact, I did two things for Crossed. I did a one-shot, which was when the Crossed infection started in a prison, and I did a run of Crossed Badlands, both of which I liked. So nice. I thought they were good stories. So not embarrassed, just forget. And also I've got like 100 things, literally 100 things on my writing resume. So
I get it. And speaking of everything you've been working on, Zero Ghosts, folks, it's literally on right now. So it's been turned on. Scan this QR code or just search Zero Ghosts Volume 1, R-rated cyberpunk thriller, and I'll have Francis who's going to come on and share more. He's our campaign manager as to everything that he worked on this campaign. But in the meantime, let's bring on your co-creator, artist extraordinaire, Mr. Brian Ching. What's up, Brian?
Hey everyone. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just woke up.
Nice. glad you joined us. How's the tennis game been?
Tennis game has been okay, steadily getting worse as I get older, but I still have fun playing against the younger, faster guys out there. So I can still hang a little bit.
That's how we stay relevant. We gotta play with the younger guys and show.
See, the trick is every so often you got to switch to something you're bad at. So as you get older, you just keep leveling up in those things.
That's what pickleball's for. So that's what I've been.
Exactly right.
So Brian, for those of you who haven't met you yet, would you mind doing a quick intro of your career highlights and your journey?
Oh yeah, I'm Brian Ching. I am the artist and one of the creators behind Zero Ghost. I've been an artist in the comic industry for over 20 years. What have I worked on? It's been so long. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Supergirl, nice. Conan the Avenger. I don't know. Oh, that's it. I got my start at Top Cow Comics. I was an assistant artist there. Yeah, I don't know. Too many projects to list, and my memory's kind of going. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for Supergirl. I don't know about you guys, but James Gunn, in James Gunn, I trust. And so shout out to Stan, shout out to Comson, friends of the channel. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and thank you for the support. So yeah, I mean, you guys have a third partner in crime, Mr. Will Quintana. Let's bring him on board as well. What's up, Will?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. One of the biggest feedbacks when we, hard to believe this was, a few years back, but we had this Ashcan edition, and when people flip through it, they would flip through to this very first page of this splash with the colors. People always pause and stare at it for a little bit. And so, welcome, Will. For those who may not have met you before, would love for you to share a little bit about your journey and who you are.
Sure. My name's Will Quintana. I am colorist on Zero Ghost Comics, and prior to that, I've worked. I've been in this industry for about as long as Brian has, a couple of decades at this point. Started off at Valiant Comics, did some work there. They eventually became Acclaim Comics. I don't know if anybody can remember all that stuff. It's so far back. But from there, I went to CrossGen Comics, and then did some gigs with Marvel and DC. Worked with Justin on Green Lantern New Guardians. That's how we met initially. And been doing the whole coloring gig ever since.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. And before we continue, I'm going to bring on Francis Stokes, who's been our campaign manager through and through, who really led the charge in putting this whole thing together. How are you feeling this morning, Francis?
I'm feeling great. I'm enjoying watching the now that it's live, watching people log on. We're a third of the way to our funding goal, so I'm excited about
ready.
That. Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm coming in all right?
There we go, guys. A third of our way. And you should definitely watch it. Again, Mr. Mickey Finnegan, who threw it together. Swaggle Haas, as you might hear. But yeah, we're pretty excited, guys. I mean, this is a big day for us. This is 24/7 Comics' first ever trade paperback, Volume 1, to be released. So for those of you who are chiming in today, getting it, you are the first. And again, the QR code above on my left, covering my face, I believe, is the place to get it. So we really welcome you guys. Jane, welcome you guys. Shout out to Jane, as we're probably going to share some of her slides as Francis take over for hosting today. So Francis, where should we take this? I know you have a special guest in the house today as well.
Let's bring him on as well. This is Brian. Of course, he's part of our team. And
what's up, neighbor?
Writer. And Ryan, you can talk a little about your history. He's also a comics writer, but he's here to talk to us about Zero Ghosts and about. Remind me, you have a newsletter that launches today, right? We were gonna be sure to mention.
I have a vlog that launches today, and a Substack that launches Friday. So yeah, my name is Brian Buccellato. I've been doing this comic stuff for 30 years, so I have you guys beat a little bit. So it's terrible. But yeah, I mean, I've written stuff for DC, done stuff for myself, have some creator-owned projects, and I'm a writer. There you go.
Yeah, we'll talk more about your channel later, Brian. For now, Francis, where should we take this? You want to share your screen with the slides and maybe go through kind of what folks should expect? And,
exactly. I would love to, because we could talk through what we're offering here. Let me go ahead and set that up. Share screen. Here we go. Yep, I want to do that.
Holy crap, we're at 2,500 already. So actually it keeps going up and down. So
it goes up and down. I've noticed it's been sort of bobbing, but
that's so strange. So all right, folks, let's get this to the goal.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's get to the goal.
It says I'm sharing. Can we see the thing yet? I'm still seeing everybody,
no. It says I have to remove someone, so I'm going to remove myself. Okay, let me do this. Here, try it again.
All right, sure. Yep.
Share now.
And I'm saying share now, And I'm selecting that, and there we go. I selected the other monitor.
Oh, here we go.
It is.
Beautiful slides prepared by our very own Jane.
Jane is amazing. I've been working with her, all week to get this campaign set up. Hi, Jane. We've been working long hours, and of course, what we're looking at here is the art that Brian created for the new cover, which I think is just stunning, for the deluxe edition. So that's Kira in all her glory, looking kind of like Batman right now.
All righty,
So-
let's dive in.
Let's start by talking about the creators. I know you guys gave yourselves a little introduction. Justin here is the writer, and you talked a little already about some of your previous titles, Justin. So we'll quickly breeze through these. Here's Brian with his dog, and some of the titles that he's illustrated in the past. And this is some of his amazing line work for this series, which is absolutely gorgeous. And of course, this will all be featured in the artist edition, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And Will, whose colors are such a huge part of the impact of this series. And here's an example. This very specific, amazing sort of neon washed nightscape, sort of noir world of Zero Ghost. So we'll get into the special discounts and first of all, because this is our launch right now, act now, and you get to take advantage of the day one exclusives. In addition to discount prices, everybody who supports the campaign gets in the day one, in the first 48 hours, gets their name in. Carl, you can back me up on this, in every 24/7 comics book.
Yes.
Ever. Right?
Correct. We were just talking about this last night. We were going over some of the other titles coming out with our books, and we're like, man, these are going to take up a lot of pages. But you know what? We are committed to adding every single person that's backed any of our campaigns to our books for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
24/7 comics exists. We want you to be part of our forever thank you list. So if you want your name in the credits, let us know. We are going to announce one thing while we're here. We are not going to include one letter names or one, only first name type of thing. So we're going to need your full name if you want your name announced. And so basically, actually real quick, I want to just thank everyone. We're at 1,500 already, almost halfway through our campaign with 15 backers. So for everyone who has been part of this already, thank you so much. If you haven't done so, please scan this QR code on the top left or send the link around to your friends, because the more the merrier. We could use all the support to really close this campaign strong.
Yeah, and we're excited to spread the word and bring new fans onto the series. We're going to continue the series, obviously, right? This is just the first 3 issues. And so this paperback is a great opportunity. It's a great entry point if you're new to Zero Ghost.
And Francis, we also have a special guest joining us as well, Mr. Terry Kavanaugh.
Oh, nice, Terry. You made it.
From the car.
Our executive editor. I didn't think you were going to be able to join us today, Terry. Welcome. So yeah, the font on this Forever Thank You list is going to start to get pretty small, but this is for everybody who backs day one. It's been a promise for the day one backers all along. Is that the idea, Carl? So this is something for the first 48 hours. This is something you get in addition to those discounts. So when you go on the campaign, if you want to take advantage of the day one special pricing, look for the red tiers. They should be clearly marked.
Yep. All right, let's keep moving.
So here is the new art that Brian created for the cover.
So Brian, talk to us about this one here.
Say that again, Carl.
So Brian, talk to us about this new art. I think it'd be cool for folks to hear about your vision behind the art, and you want to keep it simple, and I love it.
Yeah, The yellow in her top is based on the Bruce Lee's outfit from Game of Death, and so early on, kind of decided that kind of wanted to play off that as the background color, to have her against the flat Bruce Lee yellow color, and kind of wanted something simple, and we wanted something kind of splashy with her jumping at the audience, and just came up with that, and hoping that, you know, kind of catches your eye, kind of separates from other things we see. It's a pretty flat image, but we think that the colors are pretty strong. Again, Will's amazing colors bring this thing to life, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and it's pretty fitting of her sort of her signature look, I guess.
I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. All right, I can share the big image if you like, Carl.
Yeah,
I've got
it's better, I think, when Francis shares.
I've got it primed, so there she is. Yeah, I think it's amazing, and it's beautiful both on the deluxe edition and on the artist edition, which we'll talk more about. So, and I'm interested to talk a little about the history of Zero Ghost, because Carl and Justin, you can speak to this, but this is really tied to the history of 24/7 Comics, isn't it?
It was. I'll let Justin share his memories, and then I'll chime in.
Sure. Yeah. Carl and I had been talking about doing comics, and this was before 24/7 Comics existed at all. And we were working with another person who really liked. Actually, Witchblade came up specifically, and this kind of 90s style, like the darkness, the whole Top Cow vibe of comics back in the early 90s that Mark Silvestri and company were doing. And I was like, yeah, I really like those too. And I wanted to kind of update that into a sort of modern sort of version of the same thing, a real fun, kind of pulpy comic and that kind of stuff. And then also, I have a big love of like Hong Kong action movies. So I wanted to, you know, kind of blend that into them. And we ended up with this, but it went so well that they built a whole company out of it. That's how I would say it. So
it's true. I remember there was those days, especially during pandemic, where I'd pick Justin's head about like for 2-3 hours at a time about the comic book industry, and we would just have like these really long conversations. And initially, it was just this one title, and then, you know, one thing happened, and then after another, we end up having about 14 titles in the pipeline now. And so this Zero Ghost entity in itself it will always have a very special meaning in the world of 24/7 for sure.
And including, there's another title from Justin on the horizon, which we could talk about later on.
Yeah.
Let's keep rolling here. So this is the deluxe edition. So this is the first 3 issues of Zero Ghost, along with roughly 20 pages of behind the scenes glimpses to give you a view into the process of how this was created, you know, thumbnail sketches, script pages, things like that, which I always really enjoy. Is in a comic, seeing behind the, you know, kind of under the hood and how it all came together. And here's, yeah, like for example here, you can see Justin's original script and then how it turned up in the final comic, with Calder saying, "Fuck, where the fuck is she?" Kira here. Thumbnail sketches, character, you know, designs, all that fun stuff. So that all is going to be in addition to the 3 issues featured in the deluxe edition.
Man, beautiful art, amazing.
Really? Yeah.
And for those of you who are art fans, definitely check out Brian's art. We're going to show some pieces later. I actually have a couple of Brian's portfolios here as well, so I'll show some of that art later. But
oh, cool.
very limited time. Brian doesn't do a ton of commissions, but he will be doing some for the purpose of this campaign. So we'll definitely talk more about that later.
Oh yeah. As we go through the rewards, I'll discuss that. We also have a variant cover from the artist Zine Chin. And Zine Chin, Carl, you could fill me in a little here on this, but my understanding is he's known as a fantasy artist. That's his forte. Is that right?
Yeah, he's mostly a fantasy artist. Huge followership on Instagram. And it's funny, when I first proposed Zichin as a variant cover artist, Brian knew exactly who he was. So Brian, would you mind sharing how you know about him and what you know from an artist perspective?
I have his book.
Oh, cool.
I have his book right here.
Right.
I remember seeing his work on Instagram and just being blown away by it. And I think you brought him up in one of our group chats, and I had never even considered that you could get him. And when I think he submitted a few thumbnails, and I was kind of blown away by seeing his rough work. And then when you sent the final, it was like, wow, this is super cool. Again, I think we talked about people we had at the top of our lists, and then for me, it's always Jay Lee, and so we got that Jay Lee alternate cover for one of the other issues one time, and so when you grabbed this one, it was a huge win. I was really excited for it.
Shall we take a look at it?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Here we go, and there it is. So that is Zine Chin's art for the cover, which is featuring Kira and Shrike. Do you want to talk a little, Brian, about what we're looking at here? How Zine Chin interpreted the story?
Yeah, I guess not giving anything away, right? Not giving too much away. That there's a connection between these two characters, and
For sure.
I guess Zichin's take on it is that she's sort of ripping away from him a little bit, and but they're still bonded somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying not to say too much about what happens with these characters yet. For anyone who hasn't...
that is the hook, though. The relationship between these two characters is the premise for the story. Justin, do you want to step in here and give us your log line, your pitch? How much do we want to talk about what Zero Ghost is about here? How would you pitch it?
Oh, I think we can. Basically, it's set in a world where 5 crime families dominate magic, and the heir to one of them, Kira Kaine, finds her whole family wiped out and her almost killed, but she accidentally bonds herself to a death angel, which gives her the power to get revenge, but at the cost of literally her own soul. The more magic and power she uses, the closer she gets to annihilation. So she is bonded with a death angel named Shrike, who actually has been in every one of these pictures because most of the time he looks like her coat. So they have a fun relationship. Shrike is basically just very interested in Earth. Death angels don't get to come here very often, so he's basically on a big old party trip while she's trying to kill people and trying not to get killed. So
I feel like this pose and her look and all that too also really captures that this is a story of revenge. You know, these people have killed her family, and she's using the power Shrike is giving her to enact revenge.
She is, yeah. That, and it goes back to it has another link to the good old days of Image Comics, because back in the day, Spawn's original concept was that Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, only had a finite amount of power, which they kind of dropped pretty quickly. Like it came up for a while, but like they sort of found workarounds and stuff, which so did I. Because it turns out writing that is hard. But that's actually sort of the dynamic of Shrike and Kira, is like there's a finite amount of power she can use, and we try to keep track of it. Because I always thought that was a fun concept. I remember reading in one of the comics magazines 35 years ago, probably. He was explaining, he's like, yeah, most of the time Spawn's Batman, but when he needs to be, he can be Superman, would be how I would paraphrase that.
That's
And we
pretty
brought some of that dynamic to Shrike and Kira.
I love it. All right, so this is the Zine Shin cover. It's the deluxe edition. It has all the same stuff. The only difference is it's a variant cover. But then we also have the artist edition. Look for the red tiers. That's what all these things are special pricing for the first 48 hours. Those are our day one exclusives. So keep an eye out for that if you're backing now, and take advantage of the day one pricing. The artist edition. Here is the sketch for the original line art for the cover, and this is what it looks like. It's twice the thickness because it has everything in the deluxe edition plus all of Brian's original line art as well. So we're super excited to share that. This is sort of the ultimate glimpse behind the scenes here on these first 3 issues. Do you want to talk any more about the art and about creating it and designing it for this series, Brian?
I think what's at issue 2, I started experimenting here and there with gray wash tones, and yeah, I always like these black and white editions just to see the part of the process, just for people who are sort of interested in like DVD, like bonus features, audio commentary, things like that. And I always kind of like to see how the books are made, and then I think seeing the line art is a good way to see that. And when you compare with the colors, you could see how much atmosphere Will brings to everything. He brings this really cool night vibe to everything that we're seeing, and I think that's a cool thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And the line art, it'll just be the art without the colors or the lettering or anything, so you can just appreciate the illustration of the comic, basically like an art book, as just to see how Brian brings these characters to life. Here's some more samples of his original line art.
Woo!
It's beautiful.
Amazing. As a original comic art collector, I always stare at Brian's art, and there's just so much kinetic energy on every page that he puts on. Brian, how has this evolved your style? I know you mentioned the gray tones and whatnot, but as you were working on this, was there any additional details that our viewers who are a fan of art should know about?
I just want to say Justin Jordan made me draw that.
I sure did, and there was reference material. So
yeah, that gave me nightmare.
That's pretty hard.
Oh my God! Talk more about the reference material. What was the reference material? And
the reference material was actually a performance art production by a ballet. And believe it or not, and it looks very much like that. I don't know what the context was because it was just a clip that I had found online, but they were it was a bunch of ballerinas basically holding on to these things and like kind of dangling limp while it like rotated. Which my visual description of it can't give any justice to how creepy it actually was. Like I was like, oh, that's deeply unnerving. I've got to inflict that on someone else. And it ended up right.
I'm going to make that a part of my storytelling.
Like shout out to our friends at Vivi, who's also tuning in as well.
I absolutely love it. Brian, this is a good opportunity too to talk a little about I was reading your creator letter this morning, and you were kind of on the fence about whether you wanted to continue drawing comics when Carl came along. Is that right? With this project?
Yeah, I had been working for a long time. I worked with some of the big companies, and some of that stuff can get a little tiring. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when you work with one of the bigger companies, and I was getting a bit worn down by all that stuff. And then Carl reached out, and we had been talking about trying to find something for a while. And then he introduced me to Justin, and we started talking about Zero Ghost. And I pretty much loved it right away. I was really excited with it. And we said, okay, let's go ahead and let's do some concept designs and see if we're a good fit, see if it's what you guys are looking for. And I turned in a couple concept designs, and then right away, Carl seemed pretty excited with what I was doing. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun working on this book. Probably the most rewarding book I've ever worked on. And on top of it, just working with Justin and with Will, like everyone's a good guy here. Everyone is really creative, but everyone's really cool too. Everyone's pretty chill about everything, and yeah, just a good vibe being a part of this book.
That's great. That's great to hear. I really do love this art here. You know, in all the shading and stuff, it has a very noir sort of feel to it. I'm, you know, Will's colors are such a huge integral part of this story, but seeing your original line art, it almost is like seeing the story told a different way. And so I'm very excited about the artist edition because you could enjoy it either way. By the way, I want to mention we're 2/3 now to our goal. So thank you to everybody with 23 backers. Thank you so much to everybody coming on early to support our campaign.
And those of you who are watching us live, there is a QR code on the top left. Feel free to scan that or show that to a friend. If you're at the party right now, just ask everyone to scan that QR code and tell them to chime in and contribute to the campaign. We really appreciate it. Yeah, let's dive more into the art itself. I mean, the artist edition will be really special. It's going to be the first time where we're going to be taking a book and, in a way, let me see. Basically, kind of we got the color pages, but then the color pages in the front, but then we'll have like the black and whites in the back. This is a prototype for another book, but the idea is
so yeah, you'll have the whole series,
yes,
and then the extra material in it as well.
Correct. To read the book and then after that be able to study and dive into the art, which a lot of my colleagues who are in the comic art collecting space love to do. And so now it's all in one book, and you're able to kind of see the difference between the two worlds, because literally it's like two worlds when it comes to having Brian's line art and Will's finishing touch. So let's talk about this page, man. This page is famous. This page has been used in a lot of our trailers, a lot of our advertisements, and in a way, like I mentioned earlier, it's a showstopper for a lot of folks who sees the black and white and the color. So I think Brian would love for you to chime in first, and then maybe Will, you could talk a little bit about how you attack this thing here.
Yeah, this was a big thing in the script. I think Justin, you set this up to be our key image, right? Something that grabbed people right away.
It does that for sure.
Yeah, I remember when I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, we worked on this like a while ago, but I could still remember vividly when we did work on this and we collaborated on this spread. And the suggestions that you had like really kicked it up a notch in terms of the push and pull of a big crowd scene like that. So no, it was really great. I really had a blast working on this particular image. I remember it well.
This is the second page in the story. Here's if you could show my screen, you can see it with the colors. I think
the next slide is the color.
Is it? No. No. The next slide is more line art.
All right,
so, but I've got it here, and it really is right where the story begins. You jump right in with this amazing moment.
There we go. There we go. Boom. There we go. There it is.
Wow.
There's the color.
Wow.
A really huge influence on this piece was Olivier Coipel. He was doing an Avengers X-Men crossover a while back, where Sentry rips apart Ares, I believe. And so that's a huge influence on this, just shredding this guy in half in the middle. And that's another bonus of working on 24/7 books, is that there's no limits on what we can show.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, with Justin scripts having cursing in them, and with the visuals just having all the violence that you can handle.
It's funny. I used to worry a lot about our books being too mature, but I actually had a conversation with a company that does school study guides, and apparently in America, you could have all the violence and cussing you want, but you can't do any love or sex scenes.
Oh yeah.
Materials. So that explains a lot, right?
It does.
Yeah. Woo! Well, we're okay then.
And network TV was sort of the same way, right?
So funny. And Stan, thanks for the shout out. Bureaucracy.
Thank you, Stan.
Ready to discuss 24/7 Save Comics by pulling by reinvigorate the artist spirit. Yeah, here we are.
100%.
Terry, what's up, man? How's your morning?
So far, so good. Finally got to join you guys.
Nice.
I appreciate you giving me the time.
Of course, always good to have you here. For those of you who may not know who Terry is, Terry, would you mind doing a quick intro of yourself?
I'm Terry Cavanaugh. I was a writer-editor for Marvel Comics for 20 plus years. And now I'm executive editor for 247 Comics.
Yeah, welcome, sir. We are very excited to talk about this trade paperback being our first volume 1. So, Francis, let's keep
so Jane is right on the spot. She says she's updated the launch deck. So let's see what happens when do I need to exit out and go back in? Let me do something real quick. I'm going to take a look here. Yeah. All right. So if I keep going here, you'll see the color. You can do side by side here.
Wow.
Absolutely cool. Beautiful. I mean, I really love them both. They both are Brian's drawing. The storytelling is so vivid and evocative, and then of course the colors are also so incredibly powerful.
It's one of the first things that stuck out to me when I first opened the book. Really was the colors, and then you see the actual art underneath it, and then the breadth of the story. Very nice.
This is really neat.
Yeah, Will, was there a different approach in how you approach Zero Ghost? Because you definitely leveled up, to say the least. Look at this. Wow.
Yeah, when you looked at this page, did you say red? It's got to all be red.
I think, that was one of the, I wouldn't say it was a directive, so to speak, but I think it was part of the world. I wanted to kind of evoke that sort of that hellfire environment, and then have Kira stand out against it with some cooler color. But that's just the whole theme throughout the book. Lots of reds, red, it brings out that emotion, the whole revenge, stuff like that, vengeance, blood, anger.
And it's a very sort of like fire engine neon red sort of color. It fits that sort of nightscape that you've painted for the whole book.
Yeah, definitely tried to go with like a more vivid sort of brighter blood red, with some wider highlights and stuff like that. I wanted Shrike's skin to kind of look not so much black, but like the way blood would look at its deepest and darkest tone, with some bright highlights here and there.
That's great.
Just to bring out some detail.
Definitely pulled it off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we could talk a little about the specific rewards. In addition to each of these books, you can also pick up the bundle. You can get all three at a discounted price on our campaign. It's a pretty small campaign. We don't have, like often you see on Kickstarter, a ton of different variant covers, which we've done in the past, like we did with Evermind, for example. But we wanted to keep this one simple. This is the chance to catch up on the series. And I said the series earlier, but this is just the first 3 issues. This is kind of the first part. The story is going to continue with Zero Ghost 4. As Carl mentioned earlier, we have original art offering from Brian. So this is a really unique opportunity here. The original sketch cards, which would be 6x9 cards, right? Brian, do you want to talk any more about what that tier has on offer?
Yeah, how many are we doing? I don't have the details in front of me.
We have a really limited number. 9 of these and 3 of the ones we're going to talk up next, which are larger.
Oh, and there's only 5 left now, so there's only 4 more, folks. If you guys are interested in this, there's only 4 more.
Thanks for checking that, Carl. Yeah, these are gonna, the original art tiers are gonna go quick. And what we specified was any character from Zero Ghost or from popular culture, single pose, and at the artist's discretion. You decide how they're posed, Brian. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
And cover quality commission. That's the other one. We have only 3 of those available.
Yeah, I love this one. This is my good buddy, Rob Roosh, from North Carolina. He is a huge fan of Cosmic Ghost Rider, and it was cool. I think Brian, have you drawn a Cosmic Ghost Rider before?
I had never heard of this character until you submitted it to me. I think you said it's Ghost Rider and Frank Castle, right? And
right. So it's
what?
Yeah, total like head scratcher for those of you who've never heard it before. But I don't know, Terry, Brian, how much exposure you guys had, but it was a Donny Cates run called Thanos Wins, and it's a alternate future where Thanos, basically has taken over the world and is killing everybody. So he comes to Earth, scorches Earth, and kills everybody. And then Frank Castle goes and makes a deal with Mephisto to bring him back for revenge. And then Mephisto brings him back, but the Earth is scorched. So he's here by himself as the new Ghost Rider, riding around Earth. And so at one point, Thanos is killing all the cosmic entities, and Galactus is on the run. And Galactus had not heard about what happened to Earth. He arrives, lands, looking for the Fantastic Four for help, and obviously they're all dead. And the only person he finds is this Ghost Rider, who's Frank Castle, this Frank Castle version of Ghost Rider, who's now gone completely insane because he's been on Earth for thousands of years by himself. And so it's a whacked out Deadpool-esque character who says, you know what, I'll be your herald. I'll come with you to fight Thanos. And then he goes and joins them, and he gets his cosmic power, become Cosmic Ghost Rider. And then in their confrontation with Thanos blows Galactus' head off and then says, yeah, I like you. You come join me. And so Cosmic Ghost Rider becomes Thanos' right hand. So it's like the wackiest thing ever, but so freaking cool. It was like such a good take on an alternate for all these characters.
And how long was that series? Was that just a couple, issues?
It must have been like a 12-issue run. It was a pretty big hit. Thanos win. I highly recommend for everyone too.
Yeah, and the character really caught on. He's in a new Marvel series, Imperial Guardsmen or something like that. Not the Imperial Guardians, Imperial Guardians.
Yes. So he was recruited into new Guardians of the Galaxy at one point, and then now Imperial Guardians, like the new thing with Nova.
I want to also note at one point he's tooling around the timeline with the baby version of Thanos.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, because he it's almost like a Deadpool moment too, because I guess there's opportunity for him to go and kill Thanos by killing the baby Thanos, and then he couldn't do it. So he started carrying the baby around, and it was very very Mandalorian for sure.
So how do you approach something like that, Brian? We're like, I've never heard of this character that he wants me to draw. Are you just on your phone, like Googling it? Like, well, let's see what he looks like. You know, what is your, and then figuring out your take, because you have a very unique art style. So you have to decide kind of how a Brian Ching version of that character is going to look.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part when a character is already designed and there's a bunch of artists out there who have their take on it. So you can look that stuff up. You could take your pick on what you like, sort of like Batman, how there's so many different versions of him. How lately there's been like this revival of drawing Frank Miller's Dark Knight style. So you could just do what all artists do and steal and take the best of what you love. And I don't know, I found a couple artists, I can't remember who they were, but I like their takes a lot, so I'm sure I stole a lot from them. And yeah, just incorporate it into mine. And yeah, I was pretty happy with how it came out.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you guys. We're up to 28 backers, so thank you so much. Shall we keep going through, see what else we got here in the slides? Is that the last one?
Done, right? Yeah, that's the last.
Is that the last one? Because we
in fact,
the rewards.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good time to ask the viewers if you guys have any questions. Feel free to put it into the chat. I thought it was also a good time to talk a little bit about Mr. Brian Bucciolato's new project and what he's up to. Just as a quick break before we move into the next hour. I think Justin, as a writer, Terry, yourself as well, you guys have been on quite journeys yourself. So I think what Brian's been working on is very relatable. So Brian, if you want to kind of take the floor and give an intro, and I'll pull up your channel as well
sure.
for folks to see as well.
Yeah, well, forgive me if I sound a little low energy. I'm on 1 hour's sleep. I've got a 2-month-old, and Mom,
man, is that why the baby kept you up, Brian?
Yes, and Mom has started going back to work, and so she had to get up at 5. She's a nurse, and so she was out the door by 5. So
I'm surprised you got an hour.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know. I didn't count.
So you stayed up watching TV till 4, and then when she left at 5, you had to get up for the baby.
Weirdly, what I did instead was on my phone. Like I wrote a new episode for. Okay, so I'm doing a vlog, and the vlog is called The Long Road, and it's basically about the experience being a creative, 30 years in the creative life. And so I share all my sort of wins and losses and my thoughts about what it's like to just be in it.
That's great.
So I came up with a new episode while just in zombie mode on the rocking chair and wrote that. And then I wrote a pitch for Green Arrow for an Elseworlds thing. So it was productive. I'm zombie-like now, but it was productive. But anyway, yeah.
That in itself is the kind of thing that you'll be sharing on this vlog. I'm guessing is that is the creative life in a nutshell. What you just described.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's sort of unvarnished. Like I'm editing it in iMovie. Like there's a lot of mistakes in the first episode. Like I shot it with my iPhone and then I forgot to reverse it. And so if you look in the background, you'll see it's my X-Men comics backwards. But I feel like that's kind of the point. Like the point is that I'm doing this. I'm on this road and I've got a family. I've got a 0-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 25-year-old. And so I'm being a dad and still chasing my dreams. Because I don't think I've made it, and I don't know if I ever will think that I made it. So
it's very relatable. That's great.
Let's talk about that. I mean, we're all kind of middle-aged folks, and it's interesting because Brian had this book called Midlife on Image a few years back as well. We'd love to go around and then hear everyone's thoughts as to kind of this topic of this long road ahead and the long road we've all taken.
I mean, do you creatives in this group, does anyone think they've made it, or does anyone feel like they're on a path still? Like what do you guys think?
Nobody thinks they've made it. I don't think. We all think why would we even bother continuing work if we'd already made it?
Yeah.
We're striving towards making it.
And it's a constant reevaluation of what you expected in your youth, what you envisioned for yourself, and then the reality is always unpredictable and stuff. But if you can embrace that, that can be exciting. And if you can't, you're not going to last. If you can't embrace that unpredictability, that mutability of life.
And by having,
I'm trying to rebuild right now my career. It's been, I don't know. To me, it feels like on a lower ebb for a couple of years. Part of that, most of that, was related to health problems that I had that I'm, knock on wood, past now. But you know, both the psychological and the physical toll of it just had me. You know, I was continuing to work. I haven't had a year where I didn't have stuff out, but I'm more or less a mid-list comic book writer, you know, if the mid-list still existed in regular books, let alone comics. Yeah, see, Brian understands. Which it's funny because part of my plan for that, Brian, is to start a YouTube channel where I talk about my career. So in about a month, it's going to look like I'm blatantly copying you, but I swear to you, I've been working on it for a a while.
Well, I would love for you to come on my vlog, and I'll return the favor.
You guys can be guests.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
I like that. Yes, co-guests with each other. And Constant over here, a good friend of mine. Keep it going, Justin. Love your work. Here we go.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so it's been good. And part of that also is you know, I'm, God help me. I know I look incredibly youthful, but I am pushing 50 now. And I'm like, well, what do I want to do? You know what I mean? I want to do this, right? I want to do comics, cool. And that's definite. But to an extent, I've done a lot of work that I am proud of the work, but it's been pay the bills work, you know? And it's and obviously I have to pay the bills. I got cats to feed, but you know, I'm kind of looking for something more, which I suppose is the writer version of a midlife crisis, I'm sure. But you know, you get to this certain stage and you're you know, have I done the things that I feel or at least hope that I'm actually capable of doing? You know, are there enough good examples of what I'm really capable of out there? And I feel like the answer is no. And that's not to knock stuff. I've put out some what I think are really good comics. You know, I honestly I have to reread Strode every couple of years because we put out different editions and all that kind of stuff on it. And I'm no, this is a good fucking comic, man. No notes, you know.
And you have quite a few creator-owned titles. In that way, you've been able to express more of yourself as a storyteller than probably a lot of people who've been really locked into the existing comic character universe.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. One of my talents, aside from being good at pitching, which I am good at, is that I'm also pretty good at high concepts, and I'm reasonably likable, so it's given me a lot of you know, shots at bat. And creatively, I think most of them I'm pretty happy with. I wish the sales had been better. It's just one of those. This is probably too much inside baseball for people, where I know I should be presenting this air of confidence and stuff since I am launching a new book, but you know, I'm just chronically honest sometimes. But
Kickstarter likes that. Kickstarter wants the
I think honesty is important, actually.
Yeah, the dynamics of comics is you know, it's kind of a power law sort of thing, right? So out of 18-ish creator-owned things I have, 3 of them have been legitimately financially successful. Now, to be fair, and thank God, they've been really financially successful. They are outsized hitters, and they continue to sell in the backlist, which is great. A lot of stuff is just come and gone, and some of it is stuff that I'm really proud of. And you know, I have a few books, and I will bet that Brian has this exact experience too. I have a couple of books that if you went by how many people came up and told me they loved the book at cons or whatever, they're this is great, it's awesome. You would think it sold 1 billion copies. Where at this point, I'm pretty sure I've met everybody who's actually purchased one of them, because it's that often. So, you know, it's just that's kind of the dynamics of comics, right? You put out this thing you're incredibly proud of, and you're pretty sure, as much as any writer ever is, that it's good, and crickets. And then you put out other stuff that you think is good, and it takes off, and you don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, although in the case of Strode, Trad and Felipe are probably why. But like, you know, some stuff connects and some stuff didn't. And you know, I've been doing this professionally for 15 years, and it has never gotten easier to accept that. You know what I mean? You intellectually know it, but like, man, it's still hard on the heart.
It does, yeah. It's like your children not succeeding on some level. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the other creators as well, but talk really quickly about Death or Comics, Justin, because it's a similar sort of look under the hood as well, correct?
It is, but that's just so there are two things that I am doing. One is the long gestating Death or Comics, which is my comics education hub. And actually, if you go to deathorcomics.com right now, you can sign up for the mailing list, which is semi-active, and then we will be doing the most immediate thing in the future is on April 19th, we're doing a pitching workshop, which is free. You just need to come to the Discord and become a member. Doesn't cost anything. So do that. Death or Comics will be a series of YouTube videos and articles on the website that are all I know about how comics works and how to write comics. We are actually, despite the fact that this has been in the development forever, we are like 30 videos in. It's just a matter of editing like the footage and stuff that we've got. So, and it's one of those weird points where like we're still at this point where we can't farm it out to someone else, not even because of finances, just because we need to establish what like the style is. And it's just taking forever. It doesn't help that me and my business partner are both like ADHD. So like, you know, we're fighting an uphill battle there. The other side of that is I have a personal newsletter, which you can get at www.justinjordancomics.com. I'll go, I guess you don't need the www anymore. I'm just 1,000 years old. And actually, I'll make my pitch for that. If you sign up for that, I will give you a free digital copy of the first trade of Luther Strode and the first trade of Spread, which is a pretty good deal.
Nice.
That one is going to be much more akin to what Brian was talking about, where I talk about my career in the industry, things that are happening in the industry now, projects that I've worked on, projects that didn't happen. There's some cool books that like didn't quite make it that I think are kind of worth discussing. So, and hopefully people will find that interesting and then, you know, buy my books or, you know, skip it all and just buy my books. Buy this book, buy Zero Ghost.
Yes, please. We're up to 32 people who've taken you up on that. Thank you, everybody.
And here's a QR code real quick that you could scan, folks, or show a friend, and you could scan to find a link to the Zero Ghost campaign. Live right now.
And I'll make the pledge right now. Carl is going to stay on this live stream tour at $100,000.
Yes.
Live stream.
I'll be here with like white hair. Just like this.
What about your journey, Brian? So talking about this, yeah, it's none of it is how you anticipate like it's going to play out. But Brian, has your experience been similar to what Justin's describing? Different?
I don't know. I'm 53 now, so I've been doing this for a while. You know, you work with a lot of companies. You get a different experience each time, and the whole creative process, although it can be rewarding, it's pretty exhausting at times. Just the whole process of drawing is exhausting. I guess it's just like a constant problem solving. I had a dinner with my dad not too long ago, and he goes, "You've been doing this for a long time. It should be easy now, right?" And I said, "No, it's getting harder." Because now you know what you're doing wrong. You know when you're making a mistake, and what's the phrase called? Where you just overanalyze and you end up doing nothing. So that happens. But in terms of the work in general, I think I've always kind of just wanted to be fulfilled with it and haven't looked at, I mean, as long as I get paid, I'm not looking at the numbers of the book so much. I haven't been worried too much about it. I think that came up at one of my meetings on one of the books I worked on about 10 years ago, and they were worried about the numbers. And I kind of told them that I didn't really care. I just wanted to do good work on good scripts, have good drawings, and that was my concern. And I don't think that came off too good for them, that I wasn't too worried about the other stuff.
But that's probably healthier for you.
Yeah, I guess so. And I think that's kind of where I was when I met Carl too. I don't think I was doing regular work at the time, and Carl was talking about putting this company together, and that's when it kind of spoke to me to jump aboard Zero Ghost and do something that you have a part of, that you love drawing. You have a hand in creating everything. You have direct access to the writer and the color artist and the publisher, and it's just a different experience. But as far as the future, I I don't know. I hope we get to do more Zero Ghost. I hope people like it enough that we get to do more. I think Justin has a lot more story to tell. So,
and just to be clear, that's in addition to this story arc is a total of 6. We have these 3 issues, and then we're going to continue and release the other 3. So that is complete, already done. Am I right about that, guys?
It is, yeah.
And then the story, Justin and Brian will decide from there if it goes on. But I feel like so much of your personality comes through in the art for this. So I think it's really exciting as an example of your work as an artist, Brian. And Will, what about you? I'm curious. I was reading your background this morning. Have you always focused on colors?
Primarily, yeah. I'd say so. Since the 90s, since the late 90s. You guys mentioned like the Top Cow stuff. I was like a huge fan of Richard Eisenoff when he was working on the books back then. Steve Furco, Brian Haberlin, like huge. Like I remember the stuff he was doing on Spawn just like blew me away. So yeah, I had a bit of an affinity for that, because at that point, the whole transition was happening from mechanical color and from watercolor based stuff to digital. I guess the industry, saving money and stuff like that. So I just happened to climb aboard the train at a time where it was that transition period, and I was able to like get the grasp of Photoshop pretty early on and apply it toward coloring at that point.
That's very exciting. And then you've been and you've been doing it since then, basically since the early days of Photoshop. Comics.
I think my first gig was Shadow Man for Acclaim Comics. That was my first coloring gig. And I think, that was for Acclaim. And before then, I was doing like some digital lettering, but that was like my first full-time gig. I remember I was working with a coloring studio at the time, because that was the big thing, was that, guides were done regularly by the colorists at the time, and then they were sent off to studios. And then they'd have a team of people like working off of those those color samples, and then applying their the numbering and stuff like that. It was all coded and numbered and stuff like that. So it was like almost like an assembly line.
A publisher would hire a studio more often than just like a specific colorist. Is that how it would work?
The publisher would hire a colorist. The colorist would do a guide. Basically, they'd apply the colors onto the board or onto the page. They'd put codes or numbers to indicate what color is going where. Then that stack of pages would be sent off to a studio, and then they work on it from there, and then it get sent off to get printed from that stage. But that was pretty short lived. That was that was something that maybe lasted a couple of years, and I think Image kind of broke that cycle. you know, because they had like guys that were doing like top tier work. And I think, you know, at the time, Marvel and DC were playing catch up in terms of like digital coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Terry, you're a veteran in this industry. Tell us about how your journey, what as a creative person, how the comics industry has treated you.
Well, my journey's been different than most of these guys because I started in-house in editorial, and then graduated into being a writer. I always found it odd that as editors, we had no experience, many of us, and we were editing the work of professional writers. I remember editing Chris Claremont and thinking, where do I get off telling Chris how to write when he had so much more experience than me? So it was different in that way. I feel like Brian here made his long journey the hard journey by having a 25-year-old and a 0-year-old. I got my kids out of the way 25 years ago, and now life is a little looser for me than I think it will be for Brian for a while. But for me, it was graduating from learning in-house. It was an apprenticeship program, really, at Marvel. Assistant editors at the time worked in the office with the editors, so we watched what they did, how they communicated with the creators, what they were looking for from the creators. We learned that way. I was a comic book fan, obviously, before I started at Marvel, but it's very different to be just an audience member than it is to be someone producing the content. And then became a writer from there. I've never done any creator-owned material. It's always been corporate material. I did a little bit of work for DC, but mostly for Marvel. I have a company called Inksmith where we do custom comics for people as high-end gifts. So there we're not really constrained by any corporate entity, but we're telling someone else's story in a way. So even that isn't the freedom that Justin and Brian have had and all these guys in their other work. I sort of like, to be perfectly honest, I would like to do some creator-owned stuff at some point, but I also like working with established characters. That's fun for me. It's fun to figure out how I can contribute to a legacy of characters and material.
Is there anything, and you guys have all had experience with this, as a writer? I come from a film and TV background. I came into comics late. I'm still doing my first series. I don't have any experience with on either side, film or in comics, with doing that. Is there a feeling of like, oh geez, I need to go back and reread everything, or how do I know if this isn't going to cross wires with some other prehistory that's established that it'll conflict with, or are you allowed to sort of reinvent everything so that there's no pressure there?
I'll tell you at this point, and this is way too much inside baseball, no one knows the history. Fans know, but when you get into interacting with editors and stuff, like
they don't remember, they don't know it either.
And I don't blame them. Like it's when that's your gig, it's difficult to it. You would think, and I have said this since the beginning, at the risk of getting myself in trouble, that Marvel and DC should have a database that just has where the characters have appeared, what they've done, et cetera, and like you could just maintain that by giving some fan a box of comps every month or just digital comps, but they don't. Right?
Marvel had one called Peter Sanderson.
There you go.
Peter Sanderson was our library.
So when it comes to that stuff, I when I get gigs like that, I do actually try to read. I have a good solid knowledge of just comics generally, especially up to like a certain point in time. Ironically, it ends about when I started writing comics professionally.
But you didn't have time to read anymore.
That's exactly right. Except the thing. So I will get like the relevant runs and stuff, and then I will look stuff up on Wikipedia and comics tropes and all that kind of stuff and get a sense of that. Yeah, I always kind of approach that stuff with I try not to break things, you know what I mean, which is maybe good and maybe bad. I you know, it's like if it's the Flash, I'm not going to try to cut off the Flash's legs and like, you know, what if the Flash was slow? Well, that's not what people are there for, right, man? Like and that kind of stuff. So when we did New Guardians, it was interesting because we really did in that one kind of have a kind of a blank canvas, but I was also, because it was a new 52 book, which was a new continuity of sorts, I was able to sort of look back over Kyle's history and kind of pick and choose stuff that was interesting, and it wasn't conflicting with a whole lot of stuff. So it's good. Yeah, there's less effort you might think into like not crashing into continuity, which it has to be because these characters are so old that like it would be nearly impossible
forever.
to do anything. Yeah.
Seriously.
If you're Jeff Johns, you can probably swing it. But otherwise,
so much
like,
continuity. You know what I mean? Like there's X versions of each character, you know, that relaunched the universe over and over and over again by this point. When we did New 52, that was the first time they were relaunching the DC universe, even though they had like, you know, obviously they had the multiverse and they destroyed it and they brought it back. But like, I think you just, as a writer, you just do your homework because you owe it to everyone involved. You know what I mean? That's your job. So you might as well find out what happened before so you can build off of that.
Also, well, I would love to be able to bring in, if anybody has any questions. Let's just circle back, Brian, because this conversation started with you and because your vlog is about all this stuff. So you have a 25-year-old and a 0-year-old. And how is that impacting your creative life? We know it's depriving you of sleep.
4 kids, and I thought I was done after 1, and I start over again. And it is impacting my life because I'm tired. And when I was younger, I can write. I don't know, Justin, if this was true for you, but I used to be able to write any time, day or night. I would just do it. Now I can't really do it at night anymore. Like I just get too damn sleepy.
I'm the same way.
Same. Yeah. I'm not as flexible as I once was in that regard. And as a matter of fact, at this point, I basically have to write early in the morning, or like I'm just out of the mental energy for it. So.
All right, so I'm going to check in a little bit here. So we're at 34 backers, 25.6. Man, less than $1,000 away from hitting our goal, folks. So if you guys can help us hit our goal today, please do share with a friend or two. Here's this QR code on the top left. Please scan that, and it'll bring you right to the whole Zero Ghosts campaign itself that you see on screen here.
And of course, these are the lowest prices these books will go for because you have those day one specials.
Yep, and we'll definitely watch this. We'll probably watch it later today. Definitely check out Brian's channel here. Before we move on to kind of our audience, Terry, I think you had something else. Anything to add to kind of wrap up this topic?
Well, we were talking about continuity and how that plays in. You can take 2 approaches to continuity. You can look at it as baggage that you have to get past or work around, or you can look to it for inspiration, something that may have been touched on earlier in a title or in a character's lifespan, and then bring it back in a way that's different and new. As much as I'm loath to bring up the Clone Saga, that's what we did there. We had written Spider-Man away from our audience as the creators got older, got married, had kids, had got mortgages. We sort of did that with Spider-Man, and we felt trapped by it. And we discussed divorcing them or, killing off Mary Jane, but that would have added more baggage to the character, not less. It wouldn't have cleaned him up. So we were able to find something in Spider-Man's history that really could bring us a more streamlined Spider-Man back into the story. And in fact, the intent was that it was going to be that the Peter that was married to Mary Jane, etc., was the clone, and we would write them off into the sunset, with the pregnancy. But then we'd have a Spider-Man who hadn't finished school, wasn't married. We could still have all the romantic triangles and do all that kind of stuff. And that really came from existing continuity.
Oh, that's great. And this while you're speaking, Terry, I was a little distracted because our pledge numbers kept going up literally while you're speaking. So the magic of Terry Kavanaugh right there. We're almost at 3,000 now. All of a sudden,
talk more about Spider-Man.
No, they were just trying to not listen to me and do something else. That's really.
I may as well spend money if it'll get them to stop talking about Spider-Man prehistory.
we got Terry's blessing. So let me go to the audience, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your patience. We have a number of questions and comments that I would love our panel to react to. So number one, Sleeping Comics, just want to say hi. He is our agent for overseas. He's the man who helped us sell Evermind to China. So thanks for that. Compson, original comic art collecting friend. His comment was Strode spinoff. Any previews here, Justin? Reaction?
You know, we have talked about doing a Strode spinoff, and we would like to do a Strode spinoff, but we haven't been able to make it happen. So what we would like to do, and we in this context is Trad and Felipe and I, is that Trad and I would write it, and we would find an artist who's trying to break into the industry and let it be their first professional gig. And that's awesome. It's also hard to do. It was easier, oddly, back when I found Trad for Strode, because deviant art was much more of a developed thing. So back then, deviant art was a thing that even the professional artists would have. And what I found, and this was my key to finding like good artists, and I found some people that have subsequently gone on to have long professional careers that it didn't work out for me to do a thing with them. So, but I would find that professional artists would like other artists, and people generally like artists who are as good as them or better, I have found. And if you daisy chained that out, like if you went to their follows and then their follows and then their follows, you would get to amateur artists who hadn't broken in yet, who are as good as the pros. And so you did that. We don't have that. So it's a matter of, one, getting our shit together, and two, finding the right artist for it. I can tell you it wouldn't be Luther and Petra. It would be stories within the world. The one we want to do most that's first up is the Shooter from issues like 3 and 4 of Legend of Luther Strode, which is the kind of Django Unchained looking dude. Because that was a fun character, and he has a rich backstory that we just don't get into in the book. So yeah, we would still like to do that. This being the 15th anniversary of Strode, we might be our time to get on that shit for once. So
wow, did you know there's a whole like Reddit thread on the Shooter?
No.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Respect the Shooter, Luther Strode.
Oh, sweet.
Whole history on it. That is hilarious.
Email me the link to that, would you?
I'll send you that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Right here, right?
There's the Shooter.
The Shooter. Love that.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the things we did in Luther Strode, without dominating this conversation even more, thankfully I'll save you all from more clone talk. So, is that especially as we went, it's fundamentally a fight comic, and you don't want that to get repetitive. So we started looking into the different ways that people could use sort of the rule set that we had, and like a guy who used a gun as part of it was one of them. And then we were also looking at like, well, these characters live forever. So like, what would somebody who had been an enslaved person do if they got these abilities? And like, what would their psychology be like today, and that kind of stuff. And I thought it worked out pretty well. I thought, you know, I mean, it's all buoyed up by the fact that Trad's art is psychotically ridiculous, but like, I was pleased with the work we did with those various characters. We did iterations on a theme that I think worked. So.
It's crazy. There's this whole fandom for the Shooter. This guy right here. Oh man, this panel's sick.
Yeah, people really like the Shooter, which so did we. So we understand. Like, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, Trad did some crazy action scenes involving the Shooter. There's some stuff in a stairwell and stuff. It's just bonkers.
Well, that's this is breaking news right here, Compson. Great question. So before we jump to the next question, I'm gonna do a quick visit. Oh wow, we're just at 3,000 guys. We are like less than 9% away.
Super close. 40 backers. Thank you so much, guys.
So much, guys. Thank you so much. So Terry and Justin talking brings us luck. So let's keep going. All right. So I think this is for the whole panel. What are some of the underrated comics? Asking for me. So Compton is an avid reader. So why don't we go around? Let's just kind of curious what everyone would say when it comes to some of the underrated comics. I'll start. Time Before Time.
Yeah.
Written by Declan Chevy and art by Joe Palmer. It's one of my favorite runs of books, and it's a time traveling story.
Actually,
really
back
on the whole world of time travel. That's like top of mind for sure. And then another one is I don't know if this kind of underrated, but I don't think it's got as much attention as it should be because it was one of the big Netflix comic properties that came out from Mark Millar, and it was him and Matteo Scalera came together called King of Spies, and it's basically about a spy who has retired. He's elderly, white haired. He's kind of he doesn't know what to do with himself, and it's in depression, and ultimately has a wake up call one day and says, "You know what? I know where all the secrets are buried. I'm gonna go kill all those secrets." So he goes on a mission to pretty much wipe the earth of scumbags that he was exposed to from working within the government. And so really good story, super heartwarming at the end as well. Brian, you nodded your head, so I'm guessing you read King of Spies as well.
Actually, I've never read it. I just look at the artwork. I think Matteo is just a master of storytelling, and when I look at that book, I'm just constantly blown away by he does everything well. He does his pacing well, his action well, his facial expressions are amazing. Yeah, it's one of the books I have lying around here somewhere, and pretty much anything Matteo is doing these days has just been incredible.
I have a Matteo story. I also have a Matteo plug. Matteo is currently doing a Kickstarter for his book, The Fourth Father, which is doing insanely well. Last I looked at it, it was like $111,000. So good on him. He's doing it with the Ink Pulp guys. It's him and Sean Crystal. So Matteo and I did Dead Body Road together at Skybound.
Yeah.
And Matteo made the unfortunate tactical error of drawing like this one-page car chase in an early issue that was awesome. And I had this interrogation scene that lasted basically an entire issue, and I couldn't crack it. And I was like, hey, what if I made this interrogation happen during a car chase? So I made Matteo draw an entire issue car chase, which is just a terrible thing to do. There were no horses involved. This is the only good thing I can say about it. It wasn't a horse versus bicycle war 7, but it was a pretty unfortunate thing to do to Matteo. But he nailed it, as he always does.
He does. Matteo's great.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but I have to jump. But
all good.
This was fun.
Thanks for joining, Terry.
Going, I might be able to come back in.
We'll be in for the next 20 more minutes ish. But okay. But yeah, what's your one recommendation for us when it comes to underrated books?
I don't know if this is underrated, but I really enjoyed Department of Truth.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't know if it's underrated. I think it's recognized for being as good as it is, but I really enjoy that title, and it reinvents itself every few issues. It seems to go in one direction and then it takes on another, which I find very admirable.
Yeah, I think it could use more attention for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you, Terry.
Bye.
See you later.
I'm not sure how to leave.
I can move you off. There we go. Boom. All right. So, any other underrated comics before we move on to the next? We have a few questions to cover here from the audience.
That Miller book he did with Goran Parlov, that star. What is it called? It's basically a riff on like the Buck Rogers kind of thing. I keep wanting to say it's Stardust. It's not, but it's Star something. It's good. It's from Image. Was with Image. Might be with Dark Horse now.
Okay.
I really like that. I just have a bad habit of not being able to remember titles.
All good. I understand. All right, let's dive into this next one. I like this question, actually. When the panel taps into their talents, are there certain activities that they need to partake in, like eating Fruit Loops? Thanks. All right, well, you go first. What's your routines? Like when you get into coloring?
Now my guilty pleasure is podcasts. Actually, just listening to different podcasts because I need something that that doesn't distract me from my focus. You know, like the other day I put on a movie and I'm like, oh damn it, what am I doing? Because I find myself just turning to like watch it, and I'm like, fuck, I'm supposed to be working. And so then that's when I have to like just switch back to YouTube and just put on a podcast. That way I could just listen to it. Because back in the day, it was Howard Stern. But now it's just, now there's a whole universe of different podcasts that cater to like, you know, everyone's taste. So there's something out there for everyone, and I love it.
Either Brian's, any special routines?
I just watch movies I've seen before that are in the sort of genre and headspace that I need to be in while creating, because it allows me to like just feel the vibes, and I can tune in or out as needed.
Yeah, I usually work out not long before I start writing, which gives me some alone time. Like I don't take my cell phone into the weight room or anything with me. So like in between sets and stuff, I'm kind of like mulling over what I'm going to do. And then also I have more energy because I've just actually literally gotten my blood going. So that's good. And then I go, and then I write in like 20-minute like bursts. Like I do a Pomodoro method-y kind of thing where I like 20 on, 10 off, which seems to work pretty well. Because then if I'm lacking in motivation, I have to think it's only 20 fucking minutes. So it's like, you know, and just string those together.
Just stick it out.
Yeah.
Brian, other Brian?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Brian and Will. I kind of play movies in the background. For the longest time, I would play TV shows like The Office or Parks and Rec. But after I don't know how many issues, you end up watching those episodes over and over and over again, or listening to them over and over again. And so, you know, from time to time, you start looking for new things. Sometimes I just look for dramas where there's not a lot visually happening, and I can just listen to the dialogue. But then I'll tell my wife later, hey, this movie was really good. I was listening to it, and I'll watch it again with her. And I'll say, I missed everything. I missed all the subtlety in the acting, what the character was looking at. And so sometimes it's good for me to watch it a second time.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So easy where sometimes if there are slow parts in the movies, especially when I work at home, it's so hard to watch it because I'll pick up my phone and get distracted by a message or something, and then I'll miss the whole part, and then I'll rewind, and then I'll do it again, and it's just the worst thing. And again, this loop of never finishing the movie. So that's why I love watching movies at the movie theaters. I just can't.
Yeah, same actually. Like I still really like the movie theater experience because I'm just doing that instead of like my brain going 57,000 directions at once.
Yep, exactly.
Even a slow part holds your attention in a different way. I second Justin's thing with exercise is vital to me in terms of, but also I'm surprised no one's mentioned music. You know, I always have to have music. I have like 2,000 vinyl records. I'm a physical media guy, you know, and I always have music going when I work.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same as you guys. I'm a runner. So if I don't get my quick run in the morning, like I just can't get my blood flowing. So I'm definitely on that. 41 guys, we are at 41 backers, 3,073, and we'll go to the next question. I mean, let's get back to Zero Ghost. Thanks, Jane, for getting us back into the groove. So, who was the inspiration behind Kira Kaine's character? I've waited so much for a strong young female lead character in comics.
Oh, good. Mostly characters in general for me kind of arise out of. I tend to be this is the plot I kind of want to do, and this is the kind of story I want to do, and like what characters would make that interesting, rather than a character first kind of thing. And Kira was the same way. Like part of that was I just felt like it would be more interesting with a female lead, and I don't know why. That's just the instinct. And once I was in the okay, family died, revenge. It's interesting if she's young and kind of headstrong, and I think a version of Kira that was 10 years older would not do the things she does. So I think that factored into it. So it's sort of an emergent sort of thing. And then to some extent, you just sort of find the character while you're writing. Kira was actually pretty easy because and this happens when I feel like I've actually got a really good grasp on the character. I can just hear how they should sound, and their dialogue gets really easy. And after that, the decisions are pretty easy. But I tend to be a story and concept first kind of guy, or at least forward kind of guy. So often the characters sort of back out of that, which is not how a lot of people do it. I'm aware, but that's it's always how I've been doing. I was noodling with this thing where a guy, I was like, what if I had an action movie where the guy literally can't move from the place that he is? And I don't mean that in a room. I mean, he's in 1 3-foot area trying to fend off these people. And I'm like, well, that'd be cool. So what kind of a character would get into that situation and have the skills to survive? You know what I mean? And it sort of emerges from there. And Kira was the same way. You got this magical revenge kind of thing. You want somebody who's sort of inexperienced, but of age and of power. And, you work out from there. And then I was thinking about Shrike, and I was like, well, you're immortal and you've lived forever and will live forever. There's nothing on Earth that can kill you as far as you know. Vague hints for future arcs. And, I find that the character work is emergent from that. So I'm glad when people like stuff like that. It's always a roll of the dice.
Yeah, it's great. And especially then you handed off to Brian, and Brian jumped in on the design. I mean, Brian, you talked a little earlier, but, the design of Kira, I love how you had so much kind of historic inspiration, especially through her outfit.
Yeah, one thing that jumped out was when I was reading the script, Kira has a mixed heritage background, and she's partially Chinese, and that was exciting for me. Is this one of the first Asian characters I've designed? And so part of it was, for people my age, around my age, Bruce Lee was a huge hero in the Chinese community to people, I guess like me, born in the 70s. And a lot of people think that yellow costume is from Kill Bill. And this is sort of me taking it back and saying, no, this is from Bruce Lee.
Nice.
The Game of Death.
Nice.
And so that's where her yellow comes in, her yellow top. Then her pants are sort of a reverse of that, which is all black pants and a yellow stripe. So, that's where that comes from. As far as the rest of it, it was interesting. K-pop was new to me. I didn't know anything about K-pop when we first started the book, and I started looking up K-pop hairstyles, and then so this is kind of an amalgam of a bunch of K-pop singers just combining their hairstyles, and yeah, after that it was just kind of accessorizing her, and yeah, then she came to life.
Wow, it's amazing. Guys, we're not that far, folks. We're literally at 3128. So there's a chance in the next 20 minutes as we wind down the stream that we could hit our goal. So we'll take this opportunity too to continue sharing some of the comments. But let me do that right now. I'm actually going to try this thing. Bring the comments on screen. That's kind of cool. So Compson, thank you for tuning in this whole stream. Love of the game, agreed. And Jane said, I'm always feeling inspired after seeing Will work. Even my mom don't know English well, but she loves to just look through all 3 issues. She loves the art and colors of Zero Ghosts. Yeah.
Thank you, Jane.
All right. Does Terry have a book? Thanks. Terry's gone, but we'll ask him on your behalf later. And yep, Brian said, keep talking, Terry. Yes, I was rocking. Hey, Sleepin' Comics got the original sketch. Thank you, Sleepin'. Really appreciate you. And then Compson said, wow. And thanks, Justin. All righty, folks. So we are going to start winding down. So to do that, we're going to just do a quick review of the campaign itself. Folks who are tuning in right now, I'm going to turn back on this QR code on the top left. So as you're watching this, you could actually chime in as to, where this campaign stick out to you and how you can be part of it. So obviously, day 1 backers always get a benefit of having a special discount. So look for the red tiers. Thanks again, Francis and Jane, for working very hard on putting this campaign together. And day 1 backers will always be part of our forever thank you list. So I think Francis showed it earlier, but you'll be part of every single book going forward. And so definitely check in with that. And Sleepin' said,
full name.
Yep, your full name and everything. So Sleepin' mentioned that he's gonna push on his Twitter now. Thank you. So anyone who could help signal boost, we would really appreciate it. All right, so we are going to continue. Actually, can you guys see my screen right now, or it's not showing up? So we're gonna continue going down down here. We're not gonna. You gotta read on your own, but these are the 3 books, as you can tell. Volume 1 in both the regular and Z-Chain covers, and then there's this artist edition with Brian's black and white inks included. It's double size. It's awesome, and if you want all 3, there's a package for that as well. One thing we didn't mention is we are starting this with this very campaign. Our Kickstarter will have a serialized code on every single book, because we are going to stores starting this November with Tokyo Pop. It was announced via Comics Beat, where we are partnering with Tokyo Pop to bring our books into stores. And every one of our books will now have an alternate manga cover by a manga artist. And I think we did show our first one, which is this cover, triple stitch cover by Godtail. Can't wait for you guys to see what we got for Zero Ghosts. But yeah, we're going to get the regular cover, and you're going to get the alternate manga cover for every single issue. And so because of that, we wanted to make sure that our Kickstarter backers will actually have a reason to back this. And so for us, that means a exclusive print run, which will be serial number. So basically, it will be print to order. And so we sell 100 copies, there'll be 100 copies. Sell 50 copies, there'll be 50 copies. And each of these will be unique to this campaign. And so we're super excited about this initiative. There's going to be the serialized numbers existing other places throughout the 24/7 Comics ecosystem, but this will be the very first. So definitely, partake in that. Terry had his quote: "High octane action with interesting characters, spectacular artwork. The colors explode right off the page, reflecting the moods of each scene beautifully." So thank you for that. You guys heard a lot about the story earlier. Excuse me. So I'll flip through this. You guys have met the creators who's been with us for the last couple of hours, as well as here's some previews of the pages. And I'm sure you could watch the stream and see more of the previews itself. Francis had mentioned that this is a very simple Kickstarter. We want to keep it that way. And so what you're going to see on this Kickstarter is opportunity to own the deluxe edition, which is this Kickstarter special edition, one print run and done, which will also include the Z-Chin variant cover, which is a little different. And
And they all have the behind the scenes stuff as well as the first 3 issues.
Correct. They'll have behind the scenes, and this one is will be the double-sized one, which will include all the 3 issues inks. And then you guys could dive through the tiers that we talked through earlier. But one of the highlights right now, I don't know how many there is left, Francis, but earlier when I checked, there was only 4 left of the original sketch cards. I'm guessing there may only
Great
be
question. I can take a look real quick while you're scrolling through.
And then the Zero Ghost cover quality commission, which Brian doesn't do much anymore. And so if you have been looking for a BRIAN CHING commission, this is the place to be. And so, yeah, definitely check out the rest of the team. Shout out to the whole crew who put this whole thing together. It takes a village for sure. And then, yeah, shipping, depending on where you are, will be reviewed on your survey. And so, yeah, guys, I mean, we're going to start landing our campaign. We're going to start landing this stream, and we're just getting started. Folks, if you're at home and tuning in, there's one opportunity to back now and help us hit our goal so we could celebrate.
We have 4 left of the character sketches.
4 left.
We still have the cover quality commissions available.
Correct. If someone do any one of those, then it'll hit our goal. So if it's at your fingertips, you have a few minutes to pull this off. Otherwise, let's go around for kind of our closing words across our whole panel here today. Thank you, the panel, for being part of this very special day. And so why don't we start with Mr. Brian Buccellato, and then we'll go Will, and we'll go Brian, Justin, and then Francis and I can close us up.
Yeah, I did want to say that I had a chance to read the first issue of the book, and I really enjoyed it. I just want to say it's really cool because it has like this lived-in world sort of feeling, which I love about good comic books, that they just drop you in a world that feels like it existed before the book was printed. So definitely 2 big thumbs up, and I highly recommend you guys pick it up.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, this book, it's a long time in the making. It's a labor of love, first of all. So, just pick it up for that. If you want to see some creator love put into some pages, pick up this book. It's our, I mean, could I call it our like Lord of the Rings extended edition? Is it similar to that? There you go.
Available in this format again. So
there you go. You had the theatrical release. Now this is the extended edition.
This is it, right? With the behind the scenes documentaries and the commentary from Elijah Wood. The whole book is going to have Elijah Wood commentary over it.
There you go. So every Lord of the Rings fan, they have the original and they have the extended. So why not have both of these as well?
Keep going, guys. Keep going. We're about $100 away from hitting the goal. All right, Brian. Closing word.
I just want to say thanks to everyone who has supported us in making Zero Ghost. It gives us a chance to do more of this book, tell more of this story, and we're really appreciative. And anyone on the fence or anyone trying to catch up, we hope you'll pick up this trade, get you caught up before we enter the next phase of the story. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for showing up and for supporting the book. I really hope you guys dig it. We all really enjoyed working on it, and I think we're all really proud of what we put out. So hopefully people are going to enjoy it. Also, you also subscribe to Brian's Long Road, The Long Road, and the blog and the Substack. So
yeah, man, I think I'm gonna bring both of you guys back on a 24/7 Comics live stream and talk about both the channels. I think that'd be a great topic, because I feel like I've been pretty intimate to both your journeys, and so there's a lot of crossovers that I don't know why it didn't ring until this morning stream. So Francis, I'm glad you brought Brian on this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a book that I feel like the 3 creators we have here, there's so much personality, and so each of them has a contribution that makes this book unique. It's a very original and fun premise that it's easy to love, and Brian's art really has a distinct personality that doesn't look like anyone else's. Holy cow. Whoa, we're literally right on the money. We're right there.
Right, buddy. There we go. Wow, guys, we hit our goal right at the end of the stream. So man,
Thanks, everyone.
Victory.
Thank you, everybody. That is I don't know how to do like the fireworks with the stream, but if I had the fireworks, I would turn them on right now.
Yes,
You should have
right,
got you should have got actual physical fireworks and just set them off in your office.
Hey.
You guys only get my sound effects for now. Yeah, great work, folks. Thank you, Jane, for pointing that out. We did hit it, and yeah, no, I think we're closing out strong. So thank you, folks. This is day one. We have 30 more days. We'll be back with more content, and I think maybe we should do that stream next week, guys. Talking about both your blogs and videos, and Justin, if you're ready to premiere one of yours, we should definitely do it together.
Love to.
Well, we won't be ready next week, but I can definitely do a live stream next week, I think. So
Let's do it. Let's make it happen, and let's walk people through the whole ecosystem of everything that's happening in both your worlds. And then, Francis, do you want to close us out?
This is it. This is this chance that I'm so excited. It's so interesting to see it. We're exactly at our funding goals. So thank you so much to the 47 backers and everyone watching. This is the only chance you'll get to get these premium editions. So take advantage of it is what I would say, because this is a really special series.
All right, everyone stay on when we end the stream and upload it on your computers. And everyone else, we'll see you guys next time.